Hey, what's up, classes? Mr. Hayes here on a Wednesday morning. Hope you all have a good asynchronous Wednesday at home. Today, we're going to talk about the climactic event of your letter. This is what you build up to. You have a lot of background and context and plot points to lead up to this major event. How do you make it the best writing it can be? This could be when your family's house in a dust storm is destroyed, or the stock ticker goes down and down and down, and your character realizes his life savings is in jeopardy. Maybe it's leaving that helicopter and going into the jungles of Vietnam, or participating in that civil rights march. Whatever your climax is, where your character's in the midst of that societal conflict, that's the climactic event. So, to help you bring the most out of this climactic event, here are 4 tips I think will help you. Number one, you want to amplify the external and internal conflicts going on at the same time. You have an external conflict, clearly, person versus society, person versus nature, person versus person. Maybe it's battling those cops and the firemen in the civil rights march, or it's the Viet Cong, or it could be the weather taking away that family home on the farm in Oklahoma. But at the same time, there should be an internal conflict happening in your narrator's mind. Should I make this decision? Should I betray this authority figure? In my letter, I have that battle between the father and the son Julius on their philosophies on how to handle this children's crusade. Should I betray my father and go with my gut, or should I listen to what he says because it might cost him his job? Try to have the internal external conflict mix during this point in the letter in your climactic event. Number two, in blue, you would like to create a setting, you want to create a setting or surroundings that's uncomfortable or unfamiliar to your narrator. Have them in a place that they're vulnerable. They've never experienced this before. It's a new type of battle. It is a situation where they have to make a decision that they've never had to make before. They're taking on a place where they don't know a whole lot about, and they have to navigate not just that internal external conflict that I mentioned in number one, but navigating an entirely new terrain. That adds to the tension, adds to the question in the reader's mind of, are they going to make it out of this? Are they going to survive this? Are they going to be okay? Three, use tension techniques, especially safe to unsafe. They look like they're going to be able to make it home and out of this battle and be okay. And then suddenly their best friend's leg is blown off by a landmine in Vietnam. And then they're able to carry that best friend, that great soldier, to a hospital in time to survive. It looks like they might be okay. And then Viet Cong come out of the jungle again behind those bushes in their guerrilla tactics. And once again, their lives are in jeopardy. Safe to unsafe back and forth. Think about pacing with short sentences. Civil rights letter we read on Friday did a great job of that. For example, pain was isolated in its own word, in its own sentence, I should say. They use repetition. So that word pain might be used 3, 4 times within the same paragraph. And then, of course, the physical reactions, the sweaty palms, the nervousness, the shaky legs, the uncertainty going on in the character's mind about what's going to happen. And when you have uncertainty and when you're unsure about what route you're going to take, suddenly your decision making isn't quite as sharp as it could be. So think about those physical reactions too. And then lastly, we should learn about your narrator through the choices he or she makes. Whatever they decide should be a snapshot of them morally at this point in their life. They believe in this, they prioritize this, and that is exhibited through the decision they make at this ultimate climactic point. So these 4 things show up, at least I tried to have them show up the best I possibly could in my letter when my narrator Julius is confronting the cops, confronting the firemen, and taken away violently from this children's crusade. And as I know from the video, they were taken to the state fairgrounds for a while, and then eventually a lot of them ended up in jail. So you can see the color code here, and feel free to use this slide as a reference as you write today. Slides are located on Canvas. So I just want to show you what I wrote and talk to you about how I matched up each of the 4 tips to my writing, and I hope you do the same thing. Feel free to do the color coding technique too if that helps you. So I said, without any warning, we were dragged away by the cops like a laundry bag filled with ripped up rag dolls and year-old socks. Still trying with that figurative language. You know the term kid gloves? How children are supposed to be treated gentler than adults. Those BPD, little Malou there, Birmingham Police Department, coppers, slang. I'd never heard that term, I can tell you. The only thing protecting my neck from the loose gravel road was my Parker collar. Parker is his school uniform, saving me from the bumps and bruises I'd have to explain to my father later, bringing back the internal conflict. "Oh Lord, my dad, the one I betrayed to run into this fray of barking dogs and fire hoses." I might actually put this in italics as I change it because it's a kind of more of an internal thought. He's remembering how his dad's going to react to this. So I've got the external conflict of Pops, the BPD versus Julius, external, internal. What is my dad going to do? That's why it's in red. If he loses his job, Gary, now he's talking to the guy he's writing to. I might as well hitchhike up to Ohio instead of shop in your den. We both know I can live off TV dinners. More Malou, popular food in the 60s and 70s, starting to become more popular. Those TV dinners were just invented. I pondered whether to leave the scene in that moment. What was I doing anyway, Gary? The reason I'm here is purely selfish when you boil it down. To play college football at segregated Alabama, testing my chops against Billy Cannon's LSU Tigers, Rocky Top in Tennessee, and those vicious Gators in Gainesville. Going back to the main goal of him participating in the first place was he wants to play football at Alabama. But now he starts to think that maybe I did this for my own personal selfish reasons. So an internal conflict brewing. And then also mentioning some famous SEC teams who Alabama would play, and Billy Cannon was a Heisman Trophy winner at LSU. But then I looked at all those faces and saw myself in each and every one who was being treated like they had no right to exist. Billy clubs bashing their heads to a pulp, shouting for mercy, all for a simple request to sit at the same lunch counter, the front of a bus, or in a hotel lobby. So now he's kind of snapped back to reality of no, wait, just because I might want to do something for myself, this is still a greater cause I'm fighting for. I'm looking at these other African American faces that are putting their lives on the line, and I should be a part of this. He says there was no shot in hell I was leaving. So we're learning something about the narrator here. He's growing up, he's maturing in this moment. That's why it's green. Before long, some Bull Connor wannabe tossed me into a car and we ended up at the state fair, which was actually a relief. My kind are only allowed here after 10 p.m. on Saturdays. Got that from a video. And by then, all the huckleberry pies have been snatched by the whites. I'd wait here until they sent me on my way before 3 p.m., and my dad won't be the wiser. Besides one big gash in the side of my leg that can be easily patched up at the school nurse, I'd be home free, safe to unsafe. So here he's thinking, hang out at the state fair for a while, I'll go home before 3, and everything will be fine. But then Connor walked in. The vicious look on his face cannot be described. He pointed one bony finger at me, and 30 minutes later, I was face down in a jail cell that smelled like a combination of stale milk and the bottom of a sewer. So now we go from unsafe to safe, and now he's in, as you can see in blue, a place where he is scared and unfamiliar. There's my example. Reference my slides today. I will be around for an email or a Google chat if you need any help with your writing. Hope this helped. Get some running done today, please, so you're set up for success Thursday, Friday. Thanks, everybody.